Our first act today was born in Nigeria before moving to Mississauga, Ontario, and later London, Ontario. Her poetry is primarily inspired by that last move, away from a multicultural city to a place where immigrants stood out. Her experiences of pain and bringing oneself together formed her book, I Have Never Truly Loved You. One of her poems, titled Ode to the Boys Who Died to Make Hip Hop Happen, encapsulates her work. It's visceral, unshakable, inspiring. She's been featured on CTV and CBC. I'm guessing that's the Canadian version of ITV and BBC. I've got a degree, you can tell. Please give a really big welcome to Fauzia Agbonhin!
Sorry, just trying to make sure I don't fall there. Thank you for the lovely interjection. And yeah, that is actually the Canadian version of BBC. So yeah, I have a couple poems I want to share with you guys today. They said that this was a very left-leaning, immigrant-friendly space. So I hope you guys enjoy some of the poems. The first one I wrote around the time I was 18, and it kind of details my immigration story. It's called The Great Canadian Melting Pot. In 1914, Ford established an English school for the immigrants he had brought to America. On July 4th of that same year, there was a graduation ceremony. Every graduate of the English school stood in a room filled with phony sanctimony. They wore native gowns and walked onto a stage that lowered them down in this extravagant bowl-like figure, the Great American Melting Pot. When the graduates are raised back up, they were wearing Americanized clothes and accessories. This was Ford's way of ridding these people of their history. This was his way of stripping layers of culture away. This was his way of forcing them to conform. When I learned of this, I asked my parents about their experience with immigration. They said, "Daughter, our beauty isn't beauty here. The future belongs to those who don't sleep, who work tireless nights and tireless days. The future belongs to those who eat and breathe the Canadian dream. This melting pot will mold you into a version of yourself that your motherland will not recognize. It will engrave red and white onto your skin. You will slowly lose your mother tongue if you don't begin to fraternize with it. I know you say you want to be like me when you grow up, but you won't be. The Canadian dream was never meant for me. No, you are the first generation for a reason. You'll not have to take the bleeding, the beating, the dreaming of a better life. You will ease into freedom easier than I did. Assimilation will not be eradication for you. Adaption will not be extermination for you. You carry my native tongue in your mouth with this melting pot. This melting pot is trying to give you third-degree burns. They're trying to carve your homeland out of your chest. They're trying to rip my tongue out of you, forcing you to memorize a language that does not know how to express you, how to pronounce you, forcing you to warp your body until you can't even recognize you. When you were a child, I cried many nights knowing you'd eventually face people who knew what different looked like, who knew what different smelled like. My child, there are some borders you can't walk through, some barriers you can't break down with your bare hands. There are fences you can't climb. There are battles you will win only to reach the horizon and see a barren land, one that does not want you, one that does not accept you, one that will ask you to go back home to ruins. My daughter, don't waste time trying to explain something to someone who is not interested in understanding it. It will leave you tired, and we can't rest here. My daughter, don't lose your peace trying to find your place in this world, because it will leave you tired, and we can never rest here. Thank you. Thank you. That poem was actually in my book, but these next couple poems I just wrote very recently. I think the Sistine Chapel is what I'm gonna do next, and I actually wrote this like 3 days ago, so if I mess up a little bit, please be patient with me. But yeah, it's called the Sistine Chapel. Michelangelo hated that ceiling. He lay on his back for years, paint dripping into his eyes, body twisted against scaffolding, with a spine curved into a question mark. He wrote poems about how much he despised it, about the way his beard pointed to heaven, how his neck forgot what straight looked like, how his brain felt permanently rearranged. History called it genius, called it devotion, called it divine. We do not call it suffering, or resentment, or psychosis. We do not call it the slow erosion of a man inside his own masterpiece. We hang his misery on chapel walls and teach children to admire it. We love the myth of the tormented artist, the story of a man who starved for beauty, who sacrificed sleep, who traded sanity for something eternal. We frame the unraveling as if it were part of the medium, and I used to believe this was the price of admission. I used to believe art required a certain kind of abolition of sanity, a storm system behind the ribs, the brain a cacophony of noises loud like electricity before lightning splits the sky, loud like standing too close to something holy, like static crawling up the spine of a cathedral, like language trying to outrun the mouth that holds it, like this must be what it's like to be in proximity to God. I wrote like something was chasing me, like if I didn't empty myself onto the page I would burst into flames, like it was just shy of killing me. But no one tells you that when you medicate the hurricane you also quiet the lightning. No one tells you that peace can feel like an empty stage after years of standing ovations. My imagination doesn't claw at the walls anymore. It sits still, behaved, composed, and I don't know how to write from this place. I don't know how to create without ache. I don't know who I am when I am not unraveling. We romanticize the artist who almost loses his mind for a ceiling, but we never ask if he would have chosen differently had someone offered him peace. If someone said you can keep your spine straight, you can sleep through the night, you can love without turning it into a metaphor, but your creation will never outlive you, would he still have climbed the scaffolding? Is it selfish to want a steady heartbeat more than a legacy? To want my art to not be the death of me? Because history adores the artist who sacrifices everything, and I am not sure I want to be devoured by my own mind. I am not sure I want to be a cautionary tale framed in gold. I refuse to die for the masterpiece, to carve madness into matter, to claim my suffering as the evidence, to see insanity as the cost, to bleed out on a stage, pinned to a cross, and have that be called the price. I don't know how to build cathedrals that suffice without burning myself down to the ground, but I do know this. When they asked me what I wanted to be when I was a little girl, I would always say, happy. Thank you. Woo! Quick water. Thank you so much. I hope you guys like that one. I really do. I love when I first create a poem and then I start performing it and then people tell me they like it. So if you like that one, definitely let me know after. Okay, I wrote this one also a couple days ago. Actually, on the same day I wrote the Sistine Chapel, but I've never performed this one ever before. So I hope you guys like it. It's called Metamorphosis. I am a woman the way a tomato is a fruit. Botanically correct, socially disputed, argued over in kitchens by people who have never grown one. Somewhere in a dim room that smells like dust and old paper, Franz Kafka is still turning a key inside a locked bedroom door. In the Metamorphosis, a man wakes up wrong, not morally wrong, not legally wrong, just wrong in the body. I think about that often, how it must feel to blink and find legs where arms should be. A shell where skin used to stretch, a language in your throat no one else is willing to learn. I'm a woman the way a tomato is a fruit, technically, scientifically, but in every dinner conversation someone insists I am something else. I learned early how to dress the exoskeleton, lipstick like a disguise, mascara like a curtain call, heels balancing on chin. If you paint the shell soft enough, they will call you beautiful. If you rehearse your gestures, they will call you normal. As a child, I studied other girls like sacred texts. I memorized the rhythm of their laughter, how long eye contact should last, where hands are supposed to rest when you are not sure what to do with them. Mimicry became prayer, repetition became survival. I folded my wings tight against my back so no one would hear them buzz. There's a particular loneliness in feeling like a cockroach, curtsying in a pink dress, knowing the room would empty if they saw the underbelly, the frantic legs, the way your nervous system hums like fluorescent lighting. People say autism slowly now, like it is a confession booth word, like it is something to absolve, but for me it has always been a hallway of mirrors where every reflection is slightly delayed, a body that feels too loud for the silence that is expected to be kept in its place. I learned to smooth the antenna down, learned to nod when the joke made no sense and laugh when the timing fell off. I learned that womanhood too is sometimes performance, a choreography of softness, of shrinking, of smiling without baring teeth. I'm a woman the way a tomato is a fruit, grown in a garden that insists it is a vegetable patch. There are days I peel off the lipstick and stare at the creature underneath. She is not grotesque, she is not a mistake, she is simply built differently, tender in places others call hard, and hard in places others call tender. If I woke up tomorrow with 6 visible legs and a carapace catching the light, would that make me less holy or just less palatable? Maybe metamorphosis is not about becoming a monster. Maybe it is about realizing you are never what they named you to begin with. I'm a woman the way a tomato is a fruit. Undeniable in structure, debated in context, misunderstood at the table, and still, I grow. Thank you. The next poem, I think I have time for one more. Okay, yay! I was just gonna keep going until they told me to stop. The next poem is called The Truth in Its 3 Sides. And yeah, I feel like I'm so bad at explaining poems before I start, so I'm just gonna start. The Truth in Its 3 Sides. I'm a child from Africa. I was 5 when I left Nigeria, meaning my tongue was stamped with the colors green and white. My accent acted like a metal door lodged in my throat that only allowed certain words to pass through. The kids at school did not understand me. I dressed funny. My clothes smelled like food that the kids at school didn't even know how to pronounce, let alone eat. I used to be really close to my Africa. Some of you now know just enough about me to assume this country is the axis the sun revolves around. You will know just enough about Africa to assume I should be grateful to be here. I was a child from Africa, meaning I have seen savannah. I've seen all the beauty of a rainforest under the balls of my feet. I didn't have to search far to see a waterfall in any direction. I was 5 when I left Nigeria, meaning I grew up in the only place my melanin ripens all year round. I was 5 when I left Nigeria, meaning I was never a child from your Africa. I mean my Africa. I mean the Africa. The truth often has 3 sides. The truth is, when I look at your Africa, I see bones protruding out of skin, flesh barely hanging on, teeth chattering, dirt-stained cheeks. Your photos reek of blame and sickness, and the scent of a third world country can be smelt from half a world away. I am a child of Africa, meaning I am a survivor of hunger, right? I must have blistered feet, sand-cracked knuckles, knees scraped, dirt stains running to my veins. Yes, I am dirty. How could I not be? Coming from a land where the sky it's painted yellow instead of blue, where dirt and ditchable concrete is my only mode of transportation, where $1 can feed a room of people who look like me for a whole week. Truth is, your Africa has taken my Africa away from me. Sometimes I can't tell the difference between a picture of Nigeria and a herd of cattle. Sometimes I see a photo of Nigeria and I am rattled how my parents could have lived in a country so far behind in development and it had to settle for 3rd place. But then I realize we are seen as uneducated by people who still think Africa is a country, still think I must have crawled on all 4s out of its jungle, still think I went to school on a camel. My parents were dared to be called poor by a country sunken in credit, by a country that uses colored bodies as mortar for the building blocks to society, by a country that dismembered African identities at its dinner tables and then asked us when we didn't want to partake in the feast, by a country that stole the land beneath their feet, grabbed it with both hands, wrapped it in barbed wire and trademarked it with a red, blue, and white flag. This country likes to uproot the land we walk on, use third world bodies to fertilize its soil, and then remind us of all the development it's made. The truth often has 3 sides, often wraps its arms around our necks, keeps us in its chokehold long enough for us to feel the ground sink beneath our feet. The truth is the whiplash upon impact. It is the blunt force trauma. The truth is your Africa stole my Africa's identity. The truth is I was 5 when I left Nigeria, so your Africa is all I know about my homeland. It is yellow filters, it is dirt, it is hunger from the sharp edge of the